We're in the last 3 days of our fall fundraiser. That's less than 72 hours to raise the $450,000 we need to keep NCPR going strong. Luckily for you, we've got something to make your dollars go even further for NCPR. Thanks to a group of generous supporters, we have a $50,000 matching gift challenge. Here's how it works. All new first-time donations, anyone who makes an additional gift, and anyone who increases their monthly sustaining donation will count toward the $50,000. Once we get to that total, we'll unlock another $50,000 toward our fundraising goal. You can help us do that right now by going to ncpr.org/give. And when you do that, you'll automatically be entered into our grand prize drawing for a $2,000 gift card. Sounds like a good deal to me, but you have to act now. Go to ncpr.org/give and double the impact of your donation. Make your dollars go even further to support NCPR. And thanks. We know that a big reason you come to NCPR is the local journalism we bring you every day. Our news intern Richard Haller was in Potsdam over the weekend to cover a No Kings rally there. We hear from opponents and supporters of President Donald Trump's administration on today's Story of the Day.
Support for Story of the Day comes from the Wild Center in Tupper Lake, dedicated to strengthening visitors' connections to the natural world. More at wildcenter.org.
Hi, I'm Kara Chapman. It's Monday, October 20th. Up first, an Oneida County jury has found a former corrections officer guilty of killing Marcy Correctional inmate Robert Brooks last year. 2 other former guards were acquitted. The New York Public News Network's Jimmy Vielkind has more on the split verdict.
Both activists and the families of the 3 corrections officers on trial packed a courtroom in Utica as the verdict was read Monday morning. Jurors spent more than 2 days considering murder and other charges against David Kingsley, Matthew Gallagher, and Nicholas Kiefer. Rosemary Rivera is a leader of the End Prison Violence campaign. She recalled when the jury revealed it found Kingsley guilty, but the mood quickly changed.
You hear the sigh of relief. And then the other 2 verdicts were read, and they were not guilty on all counts. I mean, all I felt was this heat rising.
Prosecutors charged 10 people in connection with the Brooks death last year. They played footage from body-worn cameras that showed guards punching and kicking Brooks in the infirmary of the Marcy Correctional Facility. 6 other men have already pleaded guilty to manslaughter and other charges. Special Prosecutor Bill Fitzpatrick says Kingsley and 3 other guards who already pleaded guilty were most responsible for Brooks's death.
Farina, Anzalone, Walrath, and now Kingsley. All 4 of those people will be going to state prison for double digits.
Defense lawyers said it was unfair to lump all the guards together. Kevin Louisbrand represents Matthew Gallagher, who was found not guilty. Louisbrand says the video footage showed his client was out of the room when other officers struck Brooks.
When you look at Matthew Gallagher's conduct, he was not one of the bad guys. And he is right to be judged based upon his conduct, not a room of conduct.
Kingsley faces at least 15 years behind bars. In Albany, I'm Jimmy Vielkind for the New York Public News Network.
Attorney General Letitia James says she's ready to defend herself against fraud charges brought by President Donald Trump's Justice Department. The Brooklyn Democrat is accused of falsely claiming that she intended to live in a home in Virginia, which got her a lower interest rate on a mortgage. The AG says she visits her family in Virginia often.
I will defend these charges, and I want everyone to know that it is completely baseless, and I am totally innocent.
James and her allies say the charges are political retribution. She's repeatedly clashed with Trump and his administration in court. The Attorney General is scheduled to be arraigned this week. The mayor of Glens Falls announced today that he's not running for re-election. Bill Collins has led the city for the last 4 years. In June, he lost the Democratic primary to Diana Palmer, who earned 71% of the vote. At the time, Collins vowed to remain in the race as a third-party candidate. But in today's announcement, Collins said he feared that by seeking re-election, he could further divide the city and the Democratic Party. There is no Republican candidate in the mayor's race. In a statement, Diana Palmer thanked Collins for his service and said she's now focused on the work ahead as the next mayor of Glens Falls. About 7 million people across the country took to the streets over the weekend to protest the Trump administration. The nationwide rallies were known as No Kings protests. In the North Country, thousands of people gathered in places like Watertown, Plattsburgh, Saranac Lake, and Glens Falls. Our news intern, Richard Haller, was at the No Kings protest in Potsdam and brought us this story.
As we all know, and we've known since 1776, there are no kings in America.
Over 1,000 protesters rallied in Potsdam on Saturday morning against the Trump administration. The crowd was both exuberant and heated. People banged drums, dressed in costumes, and waved signs that read "No dictators" and "Save America." Protesters said they're standing up against Trump's actions, from his crackdown on immigration, mass firings, and cuts to education and health care. Sarah Burke was among the crowd and said this is not the America she grew up in.
ICE brutalizing people, women, children. I can't.
Donna Smith Raymond said she feels like Trump can do or say whatever he wants and get away with it. She says she's worried about Trump's criminal convictions and his false claims that the 2020 election was stolen.
And I am honestly terrified for the first time in my life.
Gabrielle Jimenez is a SUNY Potsdam student and said she went to use her freedom of speech to fight for people who can't.
People are being sent to mega prisons in El Salvador, unstable camps in Florida, and nobody cares. People are disappearing, children are disappearing, people are being held in cages. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter their immigration status because we are all humans.
Tensions rose when multiple Trump supporters drove by in pickup trucks, burning their tires, creating a cloud of smoke.
This MAGA crowd, as you can see, with these fools burning rubber up and down the street.
That's Mark Simon, who said he's protesting because he feels like the country is on a Democratic backslide with Trump in office. A group of young Trump supporters walked through the crowd, and some said they had great conversations with the protesters. Andrew Kloos was among that group and was wearing a MAGA hat.
I like the fact that we're able to walk down here. We're getting yelled at. Some people are calling us names. Some people are cursing at us. We've talked to a few people already, having just conversation, talking about what's going on, what they stand for and what we disagree with.
His friend and fellow Trump supporter, John Appy, said he disagrees with the protesters, but that he's glad they're allowed to protest.
If Trump was a king, we wouldn't be allowed to go out and protest the way that they are. They wouldn't be allowed to gather like this, put up the signs, do the chanting. They would be, they'd all be prosecuted.
Many people at this No Kings rally and around the country believe that Trump's decisions in the White House are leaning towards authoritarianism, citing masked ICE agents deporting people without court proceedings, the deployment of federal troops in cities like Chicago and Portland, and jokes about running for a third term. Dan Look said he was energized by the large turnout and enthusiasm from his neighbors in the North Country.
Oh, I'm actually quite thrilled. I was not sure how many people I would expect here, and this has been an amazing turnout, and it makes me feel really happy to live where I live.
The energy at this rally in Potsdam was pretty divided. Some folks said they're hopeful about the upcoming election and the change it could bring. Others said they felt desperate and scared about the direction the country is heading in. For North Country Public Radio, I'm Richard Haller in Potsdam.
More on that story. A St. Lawrence County teenager accused of disrupting the No Kings protest in Potsdam now faces more than a dozen charges. WWNY-TV reports 19-year-old Gage Chapman of Colton showed up at the event in his truck. Police say he squealed the tires, creating a cloud of smoke and disrupting the rally. Chapman allegedly caused a traffic jam near the crosswalk on Main Street. Police say he was driving with a suspended license. His charges include misdemeanor reckless driving and multiple violations, including disrupting a lawful assembly. Chapman was ordered to appear in Potsdam Town Court next month. We have more news all the time on our website, ncpr.org. Music today by Lost in Beijing of Keene and Tim Elifritz of Johnsburg. I'm Kara Chapman, North Country Public Radio.